Welcome back, everybody. Once again, you're listening to the Entrepreneurial Web. I'm your host, Jeremiah Fox, here with a dear friend, a mentor, one of my first bosses, Tony Disilvestro of Y-Not Itialian, headquartered in, is the headquarters going to be in Virginia Beach?
Yeah.
Yeah. And you have locations in Norfolk and Chesapeake as well right now?
I do, yeah.
Yeah.
Getting ready to go in Raleigh and Fairfax. So.
Nice. Awesome. So I got my start with Tony in the restaurant industry back in like 93 or so. He really taught me a lot about working hard, all the odds and ends of running a business, especially under some grueling situations like the seasonal restaurant he owned in the Virginia Beach oceanfront from 95 to 2000, that was a madhouse. I still have like anxiety dreams that it opened back up. And then it's like a holiday weekend. The place was so bananas. We had armed security on holiday weekends, dudes with nines strapped to their sides.
You wouldn't have needed that today.
No, the coronavirus took care of all that.
Yeah, no, you're jiu-jitsu. So.
Oh yeah, no. I would have handled a lot of those situations completely differently, which is something I wanted to move on to, which is a great segue. So the current situation where across the country, across the globe nearly, especially businesses like ours, dining rooms have been tested, restaurant owners and managers have been tested in ways that most have not experienced, especially if they've only been in business for a few years. I have had the fortune of working for people like yourself for a long time. And whether it was intentional or not, I got put through a whole lot of tests that quite resemble this, where I can remember at the oceanfront, like blackouts and just like the most insane things happen. And it just really gave me that thick skin. One of the things, the first day that this went down, because my restaurant was doing no delivery or takeout. People could call in and pick up, but it just wasn't a component of the business. It was a nice place. You saw it, you come in, you sit down. We entertain, we light drinks on fire. Like there's the whole experience. We just really didn't, the pasta's fresh and homemade. It's not something we envisioned you sitting on your couch watching Netflix eating, come in, join us, be our guest.
Yeah.
So as soon as this happened, just, on like Sunday, the 15th of March, I think Cuomo was like, you have until Monday night at 8 p.m. to close your dining rooms. That's the last time you can have a guest in there. And I just like quickly went whoop, and switched the gears. And I remember that Tuesday night, the first night where we were takeout only, my head bartender was here just kind of like watching and helping out. And he's in his 20s, he kind of doesn't know what's going on. And I'm like answering the phone, running credit cards through, putting them in by hand, writing shit down, stapling stuff to bags. And he was like, how the hell do you know how to do this? And I was like, 1994.
Love it.
Had this Italian guy barking over my shoulder. It was a walk in the park, and he was just so blown away. And I just remember, like, it really occurred to me then. I was like, man, I really gave him a lot of shit. And I remember you saying to me back then, but like in an argument one time, like, this is gonna help you one day. And I just was like, and like, I just paused that night, and that's when I was like, I gotta call you. It's been a few months since we talked, and I was like, man, I just really need to call you. And then here we are. But
That's awesome.
Really, all those things along the way helped. These little nuggets that you gave me and all those crazy situations that we went through made me not bat an eye at this situation. What about for you? You've just attacked this freaking head on like a steamroller.
For me, I've been blessed to be part of a lot of big organizations in town with the mayor. I'm on his board of advisory board and all that. So my biggest thing is that when this hit, I'm an optimist, Jeremiah, true and true. My glass is always half full. I never look that way. It aggravates people that are around me because I'm such an optimist. But I believe there's a problem is an opportunity. If you ask any one of my 450 employees, you walk up to them and say, what is the problem? Every one of them will tell you it's an opportunity because we preach it. So as soon as something like this hits, I'm like, okay, it's just changing our business. What are we doing differently? And it's been amazing because we're almost back to our normal sales with the coronavirus, and then we're only doing takeout and delivery. I mean, that's all
right.
we do. But we've been positioned properly to do that for so many years. But it's really getting the the staff wrapped around it as well. Because if you're sitting there in the dumps and like, oh my God, and you're ready to jump in your whole staff's going to follow you. So it's, you, as an entrepreneur, we're leaders. I mean, that's what we do. And for me as an entrepreneur, none of us are in the restaurant business. We're in the customer service business. So if you can teach your employees what it means to be in the customer service business, the better you do that, the better you'll succeed. And with the coronavirus, it's just another opportunity for us. I mean, whether it's a hurricane, whether it's the power went out, there's been many times our power's gone out. You'll see me, I'll go to Lowe's, I'll string lights down the middle of my restaurant. I put candles on every table. And the customer's like, oh my God, can we do this once a month? I'm like, but it's the coolest thing in the world. You know what I mean? So how do you adapt? And if you're a true entrepreneur, you know how to adapt. And that's what you do. You don't fall on. And I'm not saying, don't get me wrong, Jeremiah, I'm not saying during
Gotcha.
Yeah,
You there?
Yeah, I'm
A
here.
little fuzzed out a little bit for a minute. What was that last part you said? You were saying, I'm not saying as an entrepreneur,
I'm not saying as an entrepreneur, you never feel like overwhelmed or you don't feel like you're out of control or that you're going to fail, but failure is an opportunity, right? So we have to, as entrepreneurs, you have to know how to fail. And that's what it is.
No, and it's straight martial arts too. I mean, I've been training jiu-jitsu really hard for like almost 5 years now. And there are so many mantras from the martial arts that are so applicable to business. One is get comfortable being uncomfortable. Like you will not improve without that pressure. Another one's pressure makes diamonds, and you must fail. You will learn from your failures. If it was all success, you would be pretty weak at the end of it all. You would not be the tough person that you need to be to protect yourself or to survive in business and deal with these things. And like I said at the beginning of this segment, like you just hit this like a steamroller. And I've had that same positive energy, and I have to attribute a good amount of that to you. And I think it was subconscious because at the time I was just such a knucklehead, and just like self-absorbed and confused. But you had to have planted that seed somehow, because I don't know where else it came from. But like I felt the same way where, sure, this sucks, like, but
Right.
shit has sucked before. I mean, my place has been open for almost 5 years, and we've gone, same thing, 9 months in, I was like, we're going to close. We're like, I don't know how we're going to pay our bills.
Right.
Like everything's gone. All the money that we started with, all gone. And we were capitalized. Like everything was fine. It was just like, it's gone. Like what the fuck just happened?
I remember those conversations, Jeremiah.
Yeah. And like and even though I learned under you and you've been through that, I still didn't absorb all those things. And like you said, you actually have to be there. You have to be standing on the edge, like knowing there's nothing behind you to catch you. And then how do you respond? And you do that enough times, and after a while, like you don't know. It's funny. I knew something was going to come and shake up, especially the economic situation that we've kind of been riding on for a while. I didn't expect it to be this. This is not. I was like, oh, that's how it's going down. Okay. But same thing. It was just like there is an appropriate response in here somewhere, and folding is not it. Giving up. Like you said, just tucking your head and just kind of pouting, like, no way, not an option. There's an opportunity here somewhere. And it really, for me, it came down to like, how can I help the community? And I know that's a seed you planted long ago. And that was something I didn't realize either, where with my current partners and their other businesses, we've done the same thing. And I kind of was following, their kids are a little bit older, especially the way they've consistently given to the schools around here and a lot of the youth organizations. And I started, like, it was when I started managing for them at first, it was just like, oh yeah, I know how to do this. And I was like, how do I know how to do this? And I saw like some Facebook post for Y-Not, and I was like, oh yeah, I've been doing this for like 25 years.
Right.
And that's something you've really taken to right now as well. Like you gave like, how many meals to teachers last week?
We're over 53,000 people we've fed since we started this endeavor. And we started at the very first day of the pandemic. We went across the street to a local church and found like 25 families in one church across the street, and we just started feeding them. And then it became so addictive to do it because my staff was coming back. We kept all 450 employees. We didn't lay off anybody, but what we did with our wait staff is we had them delivering pizza to everybody. So it became our deliverers, and they're coming back in the store crying their eyes out because they're like, these people haven't eaten in 2 days. And so then we went from there and just went into every hospital in town. We fed every police station, every firefighter, every nursing home. And we've just done it. We just gave 5,000 pizzas out to every teacher in Virginia Beach, and just really doing it. But you know what? It's really about knowing the pillars of your company and who your company is. Like our 3 pillars are family, quality, and community. So, but every day of my life for 27 years, I've driven everything through that family, quality, and community. Every piece of marketing, every culture meeting that I have in my stores. So, and that's what it is. So when it came down to the pandemic, it was normal. I've had so many people ask me like, why are you doing this? I'm like, that's who we are. I said, that's what we've done for 27 years. It feels normal.
Exactly. I've seen you always do that. So when you told me that, I wasn't surprised at all.
Right.
And I, my place isn't at the capacity of yours, but it's been a similar situation where we were given the opportunity to get meals to hospital workers here, like especially some of the hardest hit hospitals in New York City. And, they gave us, it was a, a fundraising campaign, and they definitely gave us some money. It was much less than what we would normally get for that quantity. And we're just not used to that quantity either. But sending out like 400 or 500 lunches a week to hospital workers. And it was the same thing when I put it to the staff, because we kept nearly everybody here too. A few people left town, but other than that, everybody else I kept employed. And when I was like, all right, this is what they need. Like, I don't know how we're going to execute this, but I need to know if you're on board or not. Like, if you're not on board, we won't do it. And the joy of like my chefs, they stood up tall and they were like, are you serious? Like, that's no question. They were so pumped up. It really, like you were saying, the keeping the glass half full, it just went like the morale and it changed everything. We were doing okay. We've been grinding, we've been going at it, but that really got everybody pumped up. And then it was like, all right, all we saw was sunshine after that,
And the crazy part now, Jeremiah, is like, I'm starting to hire for opening our restaurants, hopefully next Friday, a week from today.
Oh, wow.
And it's crazy. We have all this staff that's coming to us and they want to work for our company because they're like, yeah, our bosses didn't care. They laid us off. But unfortunately, a lot of people didn't have a choice. If you weren't set up for takeout and to go, it was tough to even imagine how to do it. But the thing is, the staff, the employees, like I'm putting employment ads out, I'm getting thousands of people applying to come work for our company because we had that vision. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And the culture of our company. I mean, there's companies like Ruth Chris. It's tough. You know what I mean? They are high-end restaurant, very difficult to stay open. They can't really, to-go steak doesn't really work real well.
Not so great.
So I respect the fact that some people had to make those decisions, but as entrepreneurs where we are and we had the opportunity, we took advantage of that opportunity to really feed the communities and really give back. And our staff is blown away.
Absolutely. Really, it's very impressive. It's very impressive. All right, we're going to take another quick break. We'll be back in just a few. Everybody, you're listening to the Entrepreneurial Web.